In the 20th century, the women's suffrage movement developed in Britain, led by Emmeline Pankhurst. They demanded the right to vote and claiming to have a better education and also equal opportunities as men. Before that, women were considered as their husband properties who were allowed to take sexual advantage of working women and also to beat them if they wished. In addition, women had to give their possession to their husbands. Women had no rights, but a very specific obligation. They were destined for a private life, taking care of their homes and children. Fortunately, the situation of women started improving after the First World War, and in 1918, women over 30 years old were able to vote, but it took 10 years for the voting age of women to come down to 21, like the voting age for men. Women's life changed in different ways. They started to have what was considered as men's jobs, and to be able to do things which were before reserved to men, like smoking and drinking. After some years, this movement gained support. And nowadays, though the struggle for full women's rights is still about to win, feminism is present in British society in order to fight against sexist behavior.
In UK, the movement of equality between women and men started around 1850, when middle-class women decided to have equal rights. A few years later, women began to fight for the right to vote. The suffragettes emerged and coexisted with the social change which will appear at the turn of the century. Women's suffrage had many social repercussions due to it was becoming a political movement. In the 50s, women won more rights that moved away from the Victorian values, and they could wear a new, more liberal look. In USA, before the First World War, they had great advances in women organization, especially women's suffrage movement gained support among the population. In 1950s, the role of women underwent an important change. They were able to enjoy the first type of social position. In addition, a great percentage of women went to college, although women's career didn't have the same importance as men's. But most of them with the purpose of getting a husband, as in the film Mona Lisa's Smile.
Mary Wollstonecraft was an 18th century British writer, philosopher, and advocate of women's rights. Until the late 20th century, her life received more attention than her writing. She died at the age of 38, 10 days after giving birth to her second daughter, leaving behind several unfinished manuscripts. Her daughter, Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin, later Mary Shelley, would become an accomplished writer herself. With the emergence of the feminist movement at the turn of the 20th century, Wollstonecraft's advocacy of women's equality and critiques of conventional femininity became increasingly important. Today, Wollstonecraft is regarded as one of the founding feminist philosophers. In a vindication of the rights of women, Wollstonecraft responds to those educational and political theorists of the 20th century who did not believe women should have an education. She is strongly opposed to that, and she says women are essential to a nation. That's why she claims for the same rights as men. Besides, they shouldn't be seen as mere wives. Wollstonecraft says they deserve an important role in society.
One of the most important women in the women's life of the 20th century was the American writer Betty Friedan. She was born in a middle-class family and started too soon writing in newspapers and magazines. About her career, her most important book was The Feminine Mystic, where compiled the experiences of many suburban housewives and Friedan's opinion too. Friedan denounces the loss of rights for American women, talking about marriage, politics, education, religion, and history as causes of this situation. She tried to prove that women are as able as men to do any type of work, but the biggest part of society act to the contrary. About politics, Friedan co-founded and became the first president of the National Organization of Women, also with Polly Murray. In 1970, Friedan as the organization leader appeared in the Supreme Court, getting women and men workplace equality. Moreover, Britain organized the National Women's Strike for Equality, leading a march of 50,000 women in New York. The movement was quickly expanded. Furthermore, Betty Friedan dealt with other related issues as abortion choice, domestic violence, pornography, or lesbianism. Abortion, for example, was supported as a woman's choice, not a crime or exclusively a doctor's choice. Betty Friedan is credited for starting the contemporary feminist movement and writing one of the cornerstones of American feminism.